What's up, everyone? We are talking NOS4A2 Episode 8. The name of the episode is Parnassus. Something I'm really excited about is this fandom seems to be growing and the audience seems to be growing. I know the show has not premiered yet in the UK, so my UK subscribers, I'm telling you right now, you're in for a treat. I hope you get excited and get ready because it's making your way in August, so get ready for the show. Everyone else who subscribes to me and watches my videos, if you're not watching the show, you need to get on it. It is worth the payoff. The show definitely has a little bit of a slow burn. It takes a little bit of time to get into, but I highly recommend it. I also recommend reading the book as well because it's a very, very good book. Something I'm really excited about is that we were trending on Twitter very briefly, but I'll take it. If you're on Twitter and you want to follow me, I'm going to give a shameless plug at LarisF. This screenshot was taken by Anna at The Gift Hatch. Her handle is The Gift Hatch. Also, if you want to have more discussion and interaction with other fans and you love this show and you want to talk more about it, and you're on Facebook, you're welcome to join our fan group. So if you want to join our Facebook group, it is facebook.com/groups/NOS4A2fan. What I'm doing is I'm going through every episode and I'm doing a video recap and review of every episode of this season. If you're new here and you want to get notified when I put up a new video, please subscribe with the notification bells on so that when I put up a new video, it will appear in your notifications. So the episode starts off with Maggie desperately trying to fill her fix for medication. Her prescription medications have run out, and as we know in the past, she has struggled with some type of substance abuse. Maggie was already in a bad place before Sheriff Bly disappeared. It's kind of hard to watch and it's really heartbreaking to see Maggie completely break down, but it's completely understandable considering everything that she's been put through lately, and the one person that seems to really care about her well-being the most has been taken from her now. At this point, Maggie is going through the house, cleaning up all of the mess that she's made at Sheriff Bly's house. She's really quite unsure what to do at this point other than sit and wait because she doesn't know what happened to him. She tries to call the sheriff, but she gets a voicemail. As we know, the sheriff has been stabbed to death and eaten by the children in Christmasland. Justice for Sheriff Bly! You deserve better! Eventually, she pulls up her number for home. Her mom picks up the phone and tells her she's always welcome to come home as long as she follows her rules. Maggie tells her mom she threw her Scrabble bag away. But that's not enough. In order for her to come home, she must undergo weekly drug testing, no girls, and church every Sunday. In earlier episodes, Maggie said that she was an orphan, and then in later episodes, we learned that she was disowned by her parents. When Maggie goes to take the trash out, she discovers that her Scrabble tiles have been returned to her. She asks her tiles, "Where's Joe?" and they spell out dead. At this point, I prefer Maggie not know exactly how he died. Cue the opening credits. Overall, I'd say that was a pretty sad teaser, really heartbreaking, really well acted by Jahkara. Side note, Jahkara is also a YouTuber. I'll put the link down below if you haven't seen her YouTube videos. She's freaking amazing. This is her first real acting role and she totally knocks it out of the park, especially with all this. Cue the opening credits. Vic has crashed at the place that we saw her last, which is Craig's house. Of course, she's sleeping, which means she's having visions, and one of her visions is Daniel eating flesh. Vic wakes up and takes a hit off of a blunt immediately. I really like Craig. As I've said before, I'm Team Craig. I really like Craig, but he really needs to lay off the weed a little bit. There's no shortage of it at his house. So it's unclear if something actually happened between Vic and Craig, although it doesn't look like it at this point. However, they do finally have their first on-screen kiss. So we don't know what happened after that. Meanwhile, Bing is in his basement pacing around, cursing himself as Bing the Dingaling. Boy, his father really did do a number on him, didn't he? He's desperately waiting for Manx to call him. As we saw in the end of the last episode, he was not allowed into Christmasland and he was very, very sad when the doors closed on him. And it saddens him even more that he may have screwed up again and that Charlie Manx is not happy with him. Manx was not happy that Bing allowed Vic McQueen to get in his head in the last episode. Bing tries to draft an apology letter to Charlie, but doesn't quite sure know what to say. Of course, Bing blames Vic for this because Vic put the idea in his head that he could suffer a similar fate which some of Charlie's previous henchmen have suffered, which is death. But before escaping authorities in the Wraith, Charlie had promised Bing he will let him into Christmasland as long as he holds up his part of the deal. I can't be the only one that has doubts about this. If you have doubts about this, please write down below, "I have doubt." I have doubt! So 10 children is a lot, and then additionally, he has to still be on Charlie's nice list. There's really nothing to stop Charlie from putting Bing on the naughty list or finding some type of excuse to put Bing on the naughty list. And seeing the way regular adults are treated when they enter Christmasland, Bing doesn't realize this is a place he doesn't want to go because he's going to be eaten. Things are not looking so good for Vic because we see Bing fish out his gas mask from the basement. And I think it's pretty obvious what he plans to do with it. Bing the Dingaling is watching Vic from a distance. Meanwhile, Vic gets a letter in the mail saying that she got accepted into RISD on full scholarship. When Vic calls her mom to give her the good news about RISD, she's kind of like, I think it's pretty apparent that her mom has conflicted feelings about it. She wants to be happy for her daughter, but she's also a very lonely person, as we learn by the end of this episode. I want to believe that Linda wants what's best for Vic, but I feel like she's being very selfish here. Linda has been saying all along she didn't want Vic to go to school because she can't afford it. Now that she's been given a full scholarship, she really has no excuse not to go. Willa and her family are so excited and happy for Vic, they throw a party for her. Linda's uncomfortable at the party, which I can kind of understand, but there's no excuse for ruining the opportunity for her daughter, and being happy for her is something that she should be at this point. Vic is being given opportunities that Linda wasn't given, so her enthusiasm at the party pretty much matches her attitude. Meanwhile, Bing the gas mask, creepy gas mask man, is scoping out Vic and Linda's house. Chris arrives at the party, and as much as I dislike Chris, I appreciate that he's happy for Vic. As far as I'm concerned, both of these parents have their flaws and their shortcomings, but what we see here is Chris making a genuine effort to change and be better for Vic. When Chris tells Vic and Linda that he's quit drinking, Linda just kind of laughs at him, which is really a horrible thing to do to someone who's trying to get sober. Chris tells Vic to let Linda go, and she finds her way to Craig, and more smooching ensues, which is great because I wanted my ship to sail. Craig is also sad that Vic is going to be leaving for school, but he's still happy for her. Meanwhile, Craig almost breaks a vagina. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Linda is not happy about this ship. Her passive-aggressive comments are starting to wane on my patience here. When she arrives at the house, Bing is still snooping around. In Vic's room, he found a box. Bing finds condoms, booze, and weed. Sex, drugs, and alcohol. In the Charlie Manx rulebook, these are bad for women. Bing is able to sneak away from Vic's room without Linda seeing him, but he left the box open on Vic's bed. So when Linda goes into Vic's room, she finds the box, and she's not too happy. As we know, she thinks that Craig is a bad influence on Vic, and she believes that her erratic behavior lately is due to Vic and Craig out partying. Vic comes home and finds her mom in her room, and has discovered that she has gone through her box and other things. Of course, as any child would be, she's quite angry about this. Vic and Linda finally come to blows. Of course, as we know, she blames Craig for this, and also assumes that Vic is just being careless and reckless. She has no idea what's happening with everything else in Vic's life. Meanwhile, Vic just wants the future. She wants to get out of that town. In many ways, Linda doesn't want Vic to end up like her, but she also wants to prevent her from opportunities that will remove her from ending up like Linda. As punishment for finding this box of bad things, she has taken away Vic's computer and art supplies. Vic unleashes some very harsh words on Linda, probably a little bit more than what she deserves, but at the same time, understandably so, as Linda has implied that Craig is a junkie. Vic flat out tells her mom that she is a small-town loser. No wonder Dad left you. Ouch. Linda hurls the bottle of liquor at Vic, which she dodges. Linda tells Vic the classic thing that most parents would in this situation that we've seen time and time again. If you leave this house, don't bother coming back. When Vic runs out of the house, we hear the voices echoing in her head of her mom screaming. Unfortunately, Bing is out there waiting for her. He appears behind her and gasses her until she passes out. We're then taken to an image of the Wraith pulling up to a place with the sign Parnassus. Parnassus is a bar. The Christmas music is a bad sign for regulars at the bar, as we see many of them scatter as Charlie enters. And what do we have here? A clown and a red balloon. Is this Pennywise? What I do want to hit on is that we did indeed see a Pennywise reference in the very first episode when Charlie pulled out his map of the United Inscapes of America. The man at the jukebox in the overall appears to be an old friend of Charlie's. Where is this? I want to know. I have so many questions about this that I have no idea. There's no reference to this in the book. I have no clue what's going on here, but it's still a treat to watch it. Charlie has a drink in both hands, one for himself and one for the gentleman in the overalls. This gentleman knows all about Christmastown and the small children. Charlie tells the gentleman that he has a child in the back of his car, and that Jolene has passed away, and that she passed away in the dark tunnels trying to hurt him, which she successfully did. He left that out in this conversation. But he also makes a point to tell the gentleman that she had help. The gentleman knows right away there is a new girl, and Charlie tells him this one is special. We learn the gentleman's name. His name is Abe, and he has seen the shorter way appear on the map of the Inscapes. Charlie seems to really fancy Vic, which is creepy but also kind of funny too. Abe tells Charlie he doesn't care how special she is, he needs to kill her. Charlie continues to insist that Vic is special because she's pure. Vic is a virgin, and apparently this excites Charlie because this is his kink, and this means that she is right to be his baby mama. Abe brings up the fact that Jolene was too, but when she rejected him, he basically put her in a mental hospital. Charlie's pretty confident if he shows Vic his inscape that he will be able to win her over. In the meantime, Maggie has been spiraling out of control. She had found a woman at the bar to supply her with some drugs, and we're taken to a scene with her on the street with her Scrabble bag. Maggie asks her tile bag to reveal the whereabouts of Vic's bike, and it spells out the brat. When Vic wakes up, she finds herself tied up in Bing's basement. Vic asks Bing what he wants. Bing tells Vic that he's been a naughty girl. It's pretty clear at this point that Bing wants to punish Vic for putting these ideas in his head and causing him to get into trouble with Manx. Bing taunts Vic, telling her that she is all alone, and he overheard her fight with her mom. When Vic tells Bing they were friends, Bing tells Vic she ruined that. Bing tells Vic they can be friends again and administers more gas. And then Bing creepily tries to get Vic to say those evil, disgusting words, "I love you, Bing Partridge." When Vic wakes up again, Bing tells her that she's his ticket to be put back on the nice list again. Now that we know that Charlie likes Vic, we know that this is not going to put Bing on the nice list. This is going to put Bing on the naughty list. And Vic seems to know this too. She tells Bing that Charlie has told her she will be welcome in Christmasland. Of course, Bing is skeptical about this and calls Vic a liar. Bing says, "Liar, that's a fire." I really wanted him to say, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." Vic insists that Bing has screwed up. Now, if Manx finds out that Bing has hurt Vic, Bing will be on the naughty list forever and will not be able to go into Christmasland. Bing starts to panic and is unsure what to do at this point, so he just puts the duct tape back over Vic's mouth and runs upstairs. Which is good because it gives Vic the opportunity to use the commemorative pin Craig got her as a way to cut the duct tape that is bounding her wrists. When Bing comes back downstairs, he tells Vic that he cannot let her go because she will tell Charlie and he will never be able to get into Christmasland. Vic is able to stall Bing a little bit by engaging him in conversation, saying that Christmasland is boring. This does get Bing talking a little bit about his mother and his father and what happened with the gas mask and Christmas and cookies and other creepy stuff, all while trying to cut herself free from behind her back. Definitely had me on the edge of my seat at this point. This is a pretty nail-biting scene. When Vic tells Bing she got into art school, Bing seems genuinely happy about it. Bing tells Vic to hold on to that feeling, and that his best feeling came when he killed his parents. Understandably, this horrifies Vic. I'm guessing that she wasn't aware that Bing put a nail in both of his parents' heads. The more Vic continues to string Bing along in this conversation in order to free herself, the more disturbing it gets. Bing talks a little bit about his mother and how she would leave every time his father would become verbally abusive to him to go and make cookies. So this part of the series and book 2 as well gets really, really dark because of what Bing actually does with the women. It's really disgusting and disturbing what Bing in the book does with the women that he takes the children from. Bing assaults the women while they're under the influence of this peppermint gas. And he pretty much confirms this in not so many words to Vic. This is where the show and book get a little bit dark and icky for me. So this part actually made my skin crawl. Thankfully, when Bing gets close enough to Vic, she's able to catch him off guard. She cuts him in the face with her pin and is able to get a good solid kick to him in between the legs, enough for him to fall over. She quickly cuts her legs free and is able to clobber him over the head with a gas tank. She then uses the gas on him and is able to escape. Meanwhile, Maggie is still spiraling out of control. After seeing the brat spelled out from her child, when she asks where Vic's knife is, she proceeds to down more pills with alcohol. We're taken to a scene of Vic and Craig. Craig is furious and tells Vic that he's going to take care of Bing himself. Vic makes Craig promise that he will not go after Bing. Vic then gets a call from Maggie. Maggie tells Vic that there's a good chance her mom still has her bike and was lying to her when she said she sold it. Vic's concerned for Maggie and the way she sounds. Maggie doesn't sound very well at this point, and it becomes apparent to Vic that Maggie's not in a good place. Maggie tells Vic that she needs to carry on her quest to continue to find and stop Manx. When Maggie hangs up, Vic tries to call her back but gets her voicemail. Vic finds her bike in the basement and heads to the shorter way bridge. Ooh, the adrenaline in this moment is exciting. By the way, I think I've had too much Diet Coke. It's also really exciting. Vic gets on the bridge and the writing on the wall says Miss Trixie's. We haven't seen this scene for a while, so it was good to see it back. Vic finds Maggie passed out on a mattress outside of the dumpster. Vic sticks her fingers down Maggie's throat and is able to get her to barf up all the pills, preventing her, thankfully, from an overdose. Not many people would do that for a friend, but that's like full-blown superhero moment right there. Maggie wakes up and comes to, and that is where the episode ends. Wow, that was a lot. I really like the way this episode started off a little bit more slow, but then picked up slightly and then like went full-blown action. Vic really pulled out some serious badassery in this episode. Between kicking Bing's ass and saving Maggie. We only got a little bit of Charlie Manx this episode, but the little bit that we did get, we learned a lot of information from him. I'm still not sure what the deal was with Pennywise, if that was Pennywise or if that was kind of like a little cameo joke just for special fans. I don't know. Either way, I loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed my recap. Thanks again for watching, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought of this episode. I love hearing from you guys. So thanks again, guys, and I will talk to you guys in my next video.